Let's see. Vizier of many. Yup. Copy Gyruda. Keep the original. And now we have the 3 triggers on the stack. Oh my god. Hello YouTuber, welcome to this fine day. Today we are going to have a look at Gyruda Doom of Depths in Historic Brawl. This deck aims to win by playing the commander, Gyruda Doom of Depths, and just, you know, creating a large board. So, Gyruda Doom of Depths, or rather Gigan Sepulchral Terror is the skin I'm using here, is a legendary creature, Demon Kraken, 6 mana, 6/6. And it has some irrelevant companion text here because, you know, we're using this as a commander and not a companion. And when it enters the battlefield, each player mills 4 cards and put a creature with an even mana value from among the milled cards onto the battlefield under your control. So, the game plan is very simple. We have a bunch of even creatures and we're just trying to hit something off of Gyruda. And the way this deck goes absolutely ballistics is if we have one of the copy effects, so something like a Mirror Hole Mimic, Spark Double, Undercover Operative, and Vizier of Many Faces, for example, and then we can copy Gyruda, Legend Rule goes to the graveyard, or in the case of Spark Double, it actually doesn't go to the graveyard, right? And then we can dig deeper and deeper, right, and try to find the perfect hit. And Thassa Deep Dwelling allows us to do it again, hit our end step, and that is pretty good. So, let's talk numbers. I have a ton of hits of Gyruda. I think around 30 hits, and it might seem a bit much, but if you actually run the numbers of Gyruda, Gyruda only digs 4 deep, so you really have to have a high density for Gyruda to have some amount of consistency. Then, since our commander is 6 mana, we want a bunch of ramp to get there, like Dark Ritual obviously on its own allows us for a turn for commander, but we're using a bunch of 2 mana rocks, bunch of 3 mana rocks to really get that turn for commander into play. Like, we're going even that far that we're using Pillar of Origins, which is only able to cast our commander and like a few demons in the deck, right? But this is mostly there to just cast a commander. Because if we have a mana rock on 2 and then 1 on 3, we can cast our commander on 4, and that's the play pattern we are going for. So, if we exclude the creatures, minus type creature, like this is basically the hits we're trying to get, right? And we already talked about the ramp, and then what are we actually left with? We have some amount of interaction. We only have 1 board wipe here. We can grab it off the Solve the Equation. The Solve the Equation alone also gives us a turn for commander, because turn 3 Solve the Equation, turn 4 Dark Ritual. We can grab a Pact of Negation, which can be really relevant in protecting our commander. We have Hand Hate against the counterspell decks. Panharmonicon. If we play that before a commander, the deck gets absolutely crazy, because now we're going like trigger positive on our copy creatures. So let's say like we play Gyruda and now we have 2 triggers, right? One of the triggers goes away and it hits a copy creature. Now we get 2 more triggers, and now we have 3 triggers on the stack, and it's just going up and up, and it's really crazy if you have Panharmonicon. It's pretty hard to find, but we can turn 3 Grim Tutor, turn 4 Panharmonicon, and then if we played one of our 2 mana rocks, we can actually turn 5 Gyruda with a Panharmonicon in play. Yeah, and like there is not a lot of room for interaction in this deck, but I really believe that you want to maximize the power of Gyruda, because what's the point of playing Gyruda otherwise, right? So yeah, a lot of interaction that we have is in our creatures, and like we're even using things like Riddlemaster Sphinx, which are not like great, but at least they are interaction that we can hit. And we are mostly trying to go for creatures that are actually castable. Like Razakath, Jin-Gitaxias, and Ulamog are really good in this deck, because Razakath alone allows us to, like, we sack a creature, we fetch Thassa, and that's just really good, right? We can also sack a creature and instant speed grab a Pact of Negation. We can sack our commander, search for Dark Ritual, cast the commander again with that Dark Ritual, and so on and so forth. So Razorcat is pretty good in this deck, and Jin-Gitaxias and Ulamog are just so crazy to hit off of Gyruda that it's just criminal not to play them, basically. And yeah, this is the gist of the deck. Hope you enjoy the list. It is definitely, you know, gambling, so make sure that you are allowed to play this deck. Yeah, and enjoy the video. If you do, consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and let's go. We are ready to play against Nikabolas. And oh boy, that's a turn 3 Gyruda on the play. Yeah, we take that. Question is, do we wait for the turn 4 to set up with a Brainstorm? Right? That is the big question. If they tap out here... Yeah, they didn't tap out, so I'm going to be a bit careful here with what I want to do. Yeah. I can wait. Honestly, like, if I hardcast this Gyruda and then they tap out thinking that I can't cast it next turn, then this Dark Ritual is going to be pretty effective. I want to fire off this Brainstorm when they tap out for something, honestly. And then try to put something on top. And if I don't put something on top, then, you know, maybe it's not even worth to Gyruda. I'm going to crack the Mind Stone here. Draw a card. And discard. Honestly, I don't see the point of solve the equation right now. Could be a Pact of Negation. What else? I don't see too many uses right now. I could also just bin the Brainstorm. But I can't just Brainstorm next turn, right? I can set up with a Brainstorm. Interesting. Very interesting. But I don't have anything in hand that I want to Brainstorm. So maybe I just do take the Brainstorm. Yeah. Yeah, let's do this. Dark Ritual. Gyruda. And what are we hitting? We're hitting a copy effect. Okay, let's go again. We are... So, this is interesting. If we hit a Thassa, we don't want to have the copy, we want to have the original. But we want to hit the... Now we want to have the one with the shield counter in play instead. Yep. Because that's more resilient and we can solve the equation. Ooh, yeah, that just hopefully draws us a bunch of cards, right? We can solve the equation hopefully and get a beautiful, beautiful perpetual text onto that Gyruda. So, solve the equation for Assemble for Pots. That's the card. Yeah, and they just scooped to that. Look at this board state on turn 4. That is something. Like, we got so much value. Disgusting. GG. We are ready to play against Tezzeret, Master of the Bridge. And we, like, usually the way I look at these hands, like, this is a 4-card hand because I really just want acceleration for my Gyruda. If I hit 2 land drops here and I am on the draw, then I'm good here. So I think I will keep this. I'm pretty low on lands in this deck. Like, I run way less lands than I should probably. But that's due to the fact that I just want to maximize Gyruda hits. Also, the opponent's commander, Tezzeret, Master of the Bridge, is pretty interesting. Like, when it's in play, it gives all creatures and planeswalkers they control affinity for artifacts, which is really, really scary and making them basically free almost. So I have to be careful with that. Guardian Idol hits play, and the next turn I can Chromatic Lantern, peek at their hand, then I know what's up. And I can't even lead on that, that's even safer. Yeah. So yeah. Hit you with Inquisition. Swansock, sure. That's fine by me. Yeah, and they have some infinite combos available in their deck, but mostly it's just like artifact, then they try to take extra turns while upticking, and the uptick just drains us for each artifact they control. And then they, you know, with the extra turns they drain more and more, and with all that life they go into Bolas' Citadel trying to rip cards off the top of their library and paying life instead of mana for it. Okay, let's just... We could spin the wheel, we could Cemetery Desert. Like, if they had creatures I would play one of these two, but here I'm trying to find something that is good against non-creature based decks. Honestly, this is a 4/3, but this is a 2/2 that actually reduces the cost of historic cards we have. And this is an artifact, this is a legendary creature. Historic cards are are sagas, artifacts, and legendaries. So if they kill Gyruda here, we can play it if we have another land. Meathook Massacre. Well, that's a reason to pick the other card, but you know, couldn't control that exactly. I am going to play the Gonti here and hope to rip a Mana Rock off the top. I think that should be entirely or just a Time Warp or Tezzeret. Ooh, very interesting. Time Warp is not a good spell. Like, it's a win more card in this deck specifically. And if they board wipe here, I'm in pretty bad shape, honestly. I want to have some insurance if things go south, rather than winning more on the board, if that makes sense. So, that's my reasoning here for the Tezzeret instead of the Exeter. Like, I know that I can almost kill them. I actually, yeah, if they don't have this, like, 1/1 in play or whatever, I have actually lethal with a Time Warp because I can attack for 8 again, and then 2 additional, so that's almost lethal, but you get the idea, right? The question is, what do I play? Cemetery Desecrator or Noxious Gearhulk? I think I just want to hit him with the Gearhulk. I know I can copy something with the Glasspool Mimic, but I want to get this chump blocker out of the way. I want to force them to use a counterspell here, and I actually value my land drops quite highly here. Yeah. So let's just swing in. I assume they jumped the Gyruda. Because I want to hit my land drops here. If Gyruda gets repeatedly removed, I want to play it again and again and again. If they board wipe, not sure what I would do exactly. They have enough mana for the commander. No, they don't. It's not right now. If they have a Dark Ritual or something like that, they would, but I can just attack down their commander. Just kill it. Paradox Engine. Well, that is certainly extremely scary. But it's not as scary in Tezzeret as it is in other artifact decks. Because they're not having the card draw or card filtering to go with it. I think my board is already lethal enough. I don't need to add to it. So I think I want to start on hitting the 0 here, and I control 3 artifacts, so I just draw 2 cards consistently here. Oh, that's a quasi-duplicate. Now that's interesting. What do I hit with the quasi-duplicate? I think I'm just trying to copy Gyruda. And then trying to hit some interaction or this Paradox Engine. Oh yes, isn't that beautiful? That's the exact interaction I was talking about, and now we can take the Paradox Engine. Beautiful. Maybe I was even supposed to take the Gilded Lotus instead of the Paradox Engine, because if they don't have mana rocks, the Paradox Engine actually doesn't do anything. Ugin the Ineffable, sure. Healing, yep, there. And I mean, they would have been in the same spot, right? Yeah, it wouldn't have mattered what I got there. But This is pretty cool. There is the Bolas the Citadel we were talking about earlier, right? Thought Monitor is an insane top deck here for them. Like absolutely insane, because they can play it off the top, draw more cards, and now they get action off the top. Like they can basically play the cards in their hand for free because they can just float so much mana with the Paradox engine here. They can use the Blood Fountain. What do they even get back? Eater Golem? They can actually cast that. That's really scary. Oh my god. Oh no, they can't. Wait, that's just lethal then, right? I'm just going to Extinction Event for odd. And if that doesn't resolve, then I can just Grim Tutor for a Baleful Mastery. I'm going to... Okay. Honestly, maybe the order here was Grim Tutor for Pact of Negation first, if it was in the deck. Yeah, Pact of Negation was in the deck, and then go for the removal. Yeah, anyways, GG. We are ready to play against Rowan, Scholar of Sparks. Yeah, this is just ramp. I like it. And we can even steal the opponent's ramp here, which I would love to do with a Hostage Taker. The best way to play a Hostage Taker if you steal an artifact or creature with it is to have the mana to immediately play it. Anyways, with an Ornithopter of Paradise. We have a decision to make. This is on red. It's pretty good for us. Okay. Question is, like, Rowan Scholar of Sparks ultimates extremely quickly and it's pretty scary, but I'm not sure how good that is in the early game if they don't have mana, right? So I think I'm just... Like, I could go for Network Terminal, Network Terminal or Mana Geode, and then try to Gyruda next turn, but I think just taking them off this mana is pretty good. And then just adding the body to the board right now to threaten hitting the Rowan. Yeah, this worked out perfectly. Oh yeah, and that is the victory. Interesting. We are ready to play against Kaikar. And turn 5, Gyruda. They are on the play. We have removal for their commander if they play it. I think that's decent. Yeah, Kaikar wins Fury. Multiple ways to build Kaikar. This is a Storm version of the deck, most likely. Because whenever you cast a non-creature, Kaikar produces a 1/1 white spirit, and you can sacrifice the spirit to add 1 red. So this is effectively free with Kaikar. And you're just trying to play Kaikar and another mana producer in the deck, and just try to storm off. We have to shock this in here, otherwise we don't have the double black for the Chupacabra. Although we can play this on black and then shock this in later, right? But we want to be able to play the Castle Locthwain untapped as well. I think I'm going to just prepare my future turns with the Solve the Equation. So far, again, this is looking like the Storm version, but nothing a control version couldn't play. But I think... Not sure. I think I want to be a bit more reactive. If I solve the equation, I could solve the equation for a hand hate card. I could also just get something more, immediately impactful, like a Pact of Negation. The Pact of Negation backs up my Chupacabra, and they're usually not winning in the same turn where they drop the Kaikar. If I get a pact right now, that would incentivize them to just play the Kaikar before I can actually pay for the pact, which is pretty interesting. Let's see what they're doing. I really hope they just drop Kaikar or another, like any creature here. Anointed Procession, that is actually one of the better cards here. So yeah, this was one of the mana producers I was talking about earlier, where if they now play Kaikar, right, what ends up happening is that they create 2 spirits, and now they go up in mana when they play a 1 mana card. Okay. Burgi, God of Storytelling. Yeah, that's a no for me. And that means I can Skyclave first, get some mana, Chupacabra, kill the Burgi. Now they have to fight through a Pact of Negation as well. And I'm 2 turns off of hard casting this Ulamog Caesar's Hunger as well, which is pretty great. I pretty much have to Pact of Negation this Kaika here. Obviously, if I knew they had the Anointed Procession in hand, I would have loved to discard that. Then they played the Burgi, I killed that, and now they have no additional mana producers for Kaikar. Yeah, they're playing a really good game plan here of... They are trying to set up a world where they can drop Kaikar and win in the same turn while protecting it with a counterspell, and this is the correct way to play this for them. If they would just drop Kaikar and counter it, then they're like decently behind, and I think they couldn't catch up. Mystic's Mastery, that is effectively just another copy of Unexpected Windfall. So I could just counter this, because now they're just super low on cards. I think it's fine right now. I do believe they have another counterspell, because they showed us that they were willing to discard the Wash Away here. This doesn't make sense. Spending 2 mana to make 1 mana for next turn. I disagree with that. Oh, nope. Nope, okay. I could have, should have countered it. Let's see if we're dead. They're trying to storm off with a Mind's Desire here. Wasn't expecting that. Yep, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I'm also not too scared of the Mind's Desire here. Yeah. I assume they Frostbite the Ornithopter. Draw a card off of that. Yeah, that's fine. Now we're a bit off of playing the Ulamog now, so I don't see that happening in this game now. But hopefully Gyruda can get some spicy tech in here. I'm uncertain. So if I Takenuma first, I can go Takenuma Signet Gyruda. If I don't, then I have the option to later use the Takenuma to bring something back, but I think just sequencing this like this is going to be a bit more relevant. Oh no, I didn't need to play the Takenuma. I didn't need to play the Takenuma, I could have just went Signet first. Okay, let's see. What do you have for me, deck? Ooh, Hand Hate. Exactly what I want. Undercity, no, not City Stalker Connoisseur. So now I get to discard the card with the highest mana value in the hand. That's 2. So these either cost 0, 1, or 2 in their hand, which is pretty good information. I could use the blood token to discard the Ulamog. I mean, I'm always going to fight over this with the Pact. Like, they know that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But I actually can't. I think I was supposed to just not counter the Kaika here. Yeah, that was a mistake. Yeah, I would have loved to counter that instead of a Kaika. Just counter that card draw. Yeah, that was definitely a misplay. Because if they can't draw cards, then they can't win, you know? And now I'm a bit off of actually casting this Ulamog. They're bottomed. I have to pay for that. Don't want to die. Celestis. Sure, now I guarantee the Ulamog next turn. Okay. Don't want to kill me, they have to do it now. Sadly, that is not unlikely to happen. Because they have basically infinite mana for all intents and purposes here. Seize the Balls. Yep, but they're super low. They also tapped the Mind Stone, which was a huge mistake here. They really wanted to have that additional draw here. Like, they can draw one more of the Celestis, and I believe they should just go for it. Yeah, now I get to do this, and that is extremely backbreaking. Anointed Procession, Kaikar, limit their mana. Yeah, and they're just done for. GG. We are ready to play against Giganta. And let's see. Bit of a slow hand. I'm gonna put this to the bottom. Like, this is a 5-card hand. We could go for the turn 5 no, it's a turn 6 Gyruda. We don't have a 2-mana Mana Rock. Grim Tutor on 3, Panharmonicon on 4, but we can't play Gyruda on 5. It's really tempting to do the Panharmonicon thing though. Oh, let's Moldo. Yeah! This is basically the exact same hand. We can turn 2 Solemn, turn 3 Grim Tutor, turn 4. Yeah. Do they have blue here? Okay. So Solemn has to grab black. Doesn't work in any other way. Turn 4 Grim Tutor. No, turn 3 Grim Tutor, right? Yeah. Okay. This is actually interesting. Oh wow. I don't want to show them the Phyrexian Tower yet. But I really hope we get to do the thing with Panharmonicon. Like, this card is so fun in this deck. It's insane. We do have a turn 3 Gyruda here if we use the Phyrexian Tower, sack the Solemn Simulacrum. But I really do believe that, you know, our win percent, like the chances of winning here are just going up by so much if we get to stick this Panharmonicon in play. I really want to do this in the video. Oh my god, we're doing it. Yeah, sure. I think they hold up Wash Away. I'm very certain that they're probably holding up Wash Away. If they hold up Wash Away, the way to play around this, we let this get countered by the Wash Away, right? Oh wow, it resolves. Before I let the triggers resolve here, this would have gotten countered by Wash Away, and the next turn they don't expect me to play a Gyruda. They just tap out, and then I hit them with the Phyrexian Tower, and that's why it's so important to like slow roll the Phyrexian Tower and then use it when you actually need to, right? Anyways, oh boy, this is going to be good. Let's see. Vizier of many. Yep. Copy Gyruda. Keep the original. And now we have the 3 triggers on the stack. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yep. Keep the original. And now 4 Gyruda triggers on the stack. Wait. What did I just see? Yeah, that's a dream. Oh my god. Disgusting. GG. We are done with the game, so I hope you enjoyed them as much as I did, and Gyruda Doom of Death is definitely a really fun commander to play. There is some skill actually involved in this, how you sequence things and how to actually play to your outs. Then it's a whole lot of gambling and trying to see what you're gonna get out of it, right? Yeah, it's really fun. If you want to play this deck on a budget, what can you cut? What do you need? And since this is a 2-color deck, and the deck is also playing pretty slow, in theory you can just play full basics, just islands and swarms in an equal split. Maybe a few more swarms here and there, because that's the more relevant color actually in the early game. And I mean, you can play a few tap lands, like Evolving Wilds is so far, like, it's not that great, but you can play just general duels, snow duels, commons and uncommons that you have in your collection. That is going to be a fine substitute for the mana base, and that is mostly going to be all that you need. Special mention is for Phyrexian Tower here, because that allows us to do a whole bunch of different plays, including, like, if you have nothing going on, sacrifice your commander with the floating mana, play the commander again, and then try to spin the wheel again. But for the most part, you can just play basics in the mana base. All these 1-mana cards, however, are really crucial to the deck, kind of. Like, you don't need Brainstorm. It is definitely a setup card. So the way you use Brainstorm in this deck is you have 5 mana, right? Currently, like, one of them is untapped. Then in the opponent's end step, you draw 3, put 2 on top. Now you draw for turn, still have 1 card you chose on top, and then you're always going to hit that card of a Gyruda. And that's how you use a Brainstorm in this deck. And it can be really scary, but it's not that necessary. Just replace it with a land if you want to. Several from parts. If you get that perpetual line of text onto Gyruda, yeah, things get absolutely crazy. You want the cheap interaction of Inquisition Thoughtseize. Scheming Symmetry is a great setup card. It's not an instant, but it basically tutors your Thassa Deep Dwelling to the top, guaranteeing you to hit that off Gyruda, then blinking Gyruda again, just all sorts of madness. And with the amount of tutors this deck actually has access to, Pact of Negation is also pretty relevant. Grim Tutor, one of the tutors I was talking about, also pretty relevant in this deck. These 3 mana rocks can just be replaced with, any mana rock that taps for either, for black and blue. Out of these 2, Quasi-Duplicate is less replaceable. You can replace Glasspool Mimic with a land. You're going to use Quasi-Duplicate way more often, though, because if you mill it with Gyruda, you can actually flashback it, and that is going to be, happening quite often in a deck where you're going to be frequently left with 50-40 cards in the deck. And then we have whatever this is. So the important cards here I want to, focus on, and again, my around 30 is the number you want to hit here, right? So first and foremost, if you don't have all of these, and I assume you don't have all of these, replace them with whatever you want to play, honestly. But the importance here is, all the copy and blink effects. So these 5 blue cards are really important. I think Solemn Simulacrum does a decent job in this deck as well, where you play turn 5 Gyruda with it, but it's also not the worst hit in the world to hit off. And then, what's actually more important than Ulamogs, Jin-Gitaxias, and Razakats is all the interaction you have in the deck, right? Don't get me wrong, if you have these, great, play them, but and honestly, I would craft an Ulamog or a Jin-Gitaxias over a Demon of Dark Schemes. But for the purpose of this deck, Demon of Dark Schemes is, mostly a better card, because by the time you play Gyruda, you can just already lose on board. And board wipes that are tied to creatures, or just removal that is tied to a body, is really, really valuable. So something like this, giving all creatures -2/-2. A Kaervek the Spiteful, basically hating on all token decks, giving everything -1/-1. A Noxious Gearhulk, removing things. Those kinds of cards are really, really nice in the deck. The cards you need least here are the probably pure card advantage cards, like Unesh, Criosphinx, Soaring. This is a fancy way of saying you draw a bunch of cards when it enters the battlefield, but it's super niche, it's a mythic, you don't really need it, but there are not too many options. Let's get real, there are not too many options actually on Arena, and I'm playing all the best interaction, I feel like, on my body, on my creatures already. Something like a Nightmare Shepherd is just good against board wipes. Yeah, so basically, if you're missing 70-80% and you're really short on wildcards, maybe this is not the deck for you. If you have a few wildcards to spend, you have most of these already, sure, go for it. It is not a deck I would recommend to play if you want to have competitive success, but it is a deck to play if you want to have certified fun. Yeah, the deck is really fun if it goes off, and yeah, just high rolling is great. Anyways, hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, throw me a like, subscribe to the channel, all the fun stuff, and I will see you in the next one.